Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the program, and we welcome our viewers out on the Facebook platform as well, facebook.com/Salam Media. And it's that time of the morning when we talk to Hafiz Imran Chunara, Personal Excellence Mentor and CEO at the Africa Muslims Agency. He's been dishing out some gems of information over the last week, and we continue, inshallah, for the rest of Ramadan. Personal Excellence with Imran Chunara. And today we are talking about with Imran Chunara. Can you hear me? Can you see? Oh, we seem to have a streaming problem. Yes, there we go. Assalamu alaikum, Imran. Can you see me?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Azhar, yes, I can see you and I can hear you.
All right, wonderful stuff. So today's topic: play a good game. How does that tie into personal excellence?
Oh man, this is a challenging one for me as well, and I'm sure for most people. A mentor of mine, very close friend of mine, regularly to this day, still says this to me, and at various times, at different times. And he's famous for saying, "Your talk talks and your walk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks." And
Absolutely.
and then he goes on to say, most people talk a good game, but very few people play a good game. And often when he says that to me, I know he's not trying to teach me the point. He's trying to remind me that I'm talking a good game and not playing a good game. because he's not trying to say, "Hey, Imran, you should teach this to others." He's reminding me that I'm the one that's shooting my mouth off about something, and I'm not actually acting on it. And so he's very straightforward about it. He's like, "Hey, Imran, remember, most people talk a good game. Very few people play a good game." And I want us to think about that this week, or today for that matter, just to think about it for a second. How many times do we open our mouth and our actions don't represent what we say? Now, it doesn't mean we have to be perfect human beings. None of us are perfect. Like, everything, you can't say anything unless you're actually doing it. No, no, no. Of course, we say stuff, we teach stuff, we learn stuff, we do things. But if we become known as people who speak more than we do, we talk, and people can't trust our word because it doesn't translate into actions, then you cross a line where you no longer become a person of integrity. Because integrity is, I do what I say and I say what I do. That's integrity. End of story. Integrity is, I do what I say and I say what I do, which means when I say something, people must know that I'm going to translate it into action. Or if I say I did something, people must know it's done. It's not, there's no question about it. So that's really the lesson when you say play a good game. Because it's easy to say it. It's very difficult to do it. And I'm talking about every area of our life. We talk about parenting. We talk about being a good spouse. We talk about goals in life. We talk about dreams. We talk about our physical aspect of life. Often we say, especially in social media, Azhar, we can say so much on social media, and yet it may not manifest in our lives. We put photos out there, pictures out there that are doctored, that are filtered. What are you doing? You're talking a good game. You're not playing a good game. If you're going to put something out there, make sure it's a representation of who you are. Because whether you like it or not, it is a representation of who you are. If you put falsely something out there on social media, it shows me who you are inside. That's dangerous. When I watch your social media platforms, anybody for that matter, or you watch mine, you develop a certain thinking process about me, about who I am, because I'm putting it out there. And if I'm putting it out there, and over time you follow me and you develop a certain thought process about what kind of a person Imran is, and then you meet Imran and he's not that person, you can never trust Imran again. That's scary when you think about it. So be very careful, folks. Your talk talks and your walk talks, but your walk will always talk louder than your talk talks.
That could become a tongue twister in days to come. We could put that out as a challenge. Can you say that 10 times without twisting? Your talk walks, and your walk walks.
Your
But your
talk
walk,
talks and your walk talks. Basically, your talk is talking, your talk is talking, your walk is also talking. But your walk is talking louder than your talk.
that will take some practice by me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. And but really, I mean, the concept is very very simple, and I think it's embedded in the roots of the life of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that
Absolutely,
you
sallallahu
don't
alaihi wasallam.
practice what you preach.
Yeah.
The dhikr is you may have the knowledge, the ilm of something, and you may know about it, but it means really nothing until you actually practice it.
Yep.
You could be talking about helping and assisting, or you could be talking about various acts of piety all the time and encouraging everybody to be at a super level of piety. But if you yourself are not doing it, it really just distracts, and you lose integrity.
Absolutely. And you think about it, and you bring a very good point, because he was known, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was known as Al Amin before prophethood.
Mhm.
Before prophethood. So prophethood he wasn't this normal person, and then prophethood made him honest. No. He was honest as a human being. Before even he knew that he would be the prophet. Before he knew, he was honest already. He was Al-Amin already. People trusted him anyway because of who he was. His walk was talking louder than his talk was talking. He wasn't preaching anything prior to prophethood. And yet, his walk was doing the talking for him, which is incredible when you think about it. And then, of course, talking about the concept of knowledge. We say knowledge is power. No, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Knowledge is just information, mate. My iPad, I could say my iPad has knowledge. My iPad is just a flipping device that has access to knowledge. But it's got no power in it until we can apply that thing. So I get the knowledge, learning the knowledge and filling my head with knowledge and information. Okay, and then what? If you don't see it in my walk, I'm not applying it. If I'm not applying it, it's not powerful. It's just dead information.
Absolutely. I mean, it reminds me of the powerful incident at Hudaybiyah, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam instructed the believers to now return without fulfilling their objective of coming, and he had to, shave. He instructed them to shave, the Sahaba to shave their heads, and very few of them were, it was so difficult for them to
Yeah,
engage in that action. And his wife, beloved wife, had advised him at that point that you do it first. If they see
yeah,
you shaking your own head, then they will follow you and they will do. And I think this is an extremely important leadership lesson, being
yeah.
able to walk the talk.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because when you think about it, at that Treaty of Hudaybiyah, at that point, it's like we are in lockdown right now, right? They had guaranteed him that he would be able to perform Hajj. And at that time, they would turn away, isn't it? So they would turn away without performing Hajj. So they had to go back. And but he did what was wise. He was a man of integrity and a man of wisdom. So the wisdom behind everything. And today in lockdown, we see the same thing. There's certain things we can do and can't do. We have to behave with integrity and wisdom. And leadership, that's the leadership side of it. Because, and if you're thinking, well, you're not in a position of leadership, if you're watching this today, in your home, you're in a position of leadership. Leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. The minute you influence another human being, you're leading them. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. You lead your children, you lead your spouse, people around you, your friends, whatever the case is, you leading them by influencing what they do. By who? By being who you are. It means your walk has to talk, but it must talk louder than your talk talks. So it's no use teaching and preaching. It has to manifest in your life. And that's why when you meet wise, learned people, truly wise, learned people, not just someone who acquired knowledge, by the way, there's a difference. People who actually apply that knowledge and they know how tough it is as a human being to apply what you learn, often they're the most humble people ever. Often they have this energy around them, this aura around them that you just want to respect. Why? Because they're actually applying it and they know how the struggle is. I find that the more you acquire information and the less you apply, the more judgmental you become of another human being, because you don't know how tough it is to apply it. Only once you try to apply the knowledge you acquired will you learn how tough it is, and you'll respect another human being more when they make mistakes.
Imran Chunara, Personal Excellence Mentor and CEO at the Africa Muslims Agency. Jazakallah khairan once again for another wonderful slot there. Beautiful, powerful words of encouragement. and personal excellence. And we look forward, inshallah, to speaking to you once again tomorrow. And don't forget, CEO of Africa Muslims Agency. You go well. Enjoy the day. Assalamu alaikum wa
عليكم
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
As that brings us to the end of that slot, and coming up in the next few moments after the ad break, we'll be speaking to Temba Masango, the secretary of Not In My Name. Apparently, they stand the risk of losing their chance of feeding in the Gauteng area, feeding people who need assistance, because the Gauteng department says that they may have been infringing on the current laws and regulations. Stay tuned.